we were a few months ago in Sweden, and meanwhile, in this during this time, you've been playing in over Europe with At the Gates. First of all, I would like to know how has been for you that tour, because it was huge for the band, and you were touring with a huge death metal band like At the Gates, and I would like to know how did you live that tour?
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I've known the guys in At the Gates for a long, long time. We started out together, um, and but we never played. We played a few festivals here and there, but to tour together for the first time, it was awesome. And I I'm amazed that people are. There's so many bands out touring and so many big Europe metal tours across Europe at the same time as we were touring, so that people actually coming to our show and have a good time, and they're giving us so much love. It's fantastic. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of bands have been taking a hit in terms of touring costs due to the in how can I say inflation
Yeah,
of
inflation.
the cost, and a lack of crew, tour buses, etc. How has this affected In Flames specifically for this
Yeah,
tour after that pandemic?
everything. I mean, everything is more expensive, of course. It's more difficult to get stuff, and you're lucky if you get hold of a tour bus and so on. But when it comes to the crew, I mean, we have the same crew as we had for a very, very long time. They're super loyal and amazing. We can't do what we do without them. But everything is way more expensive. I mean, it's more expensive for us to tour. It's more expensive for people to come to the show, and so we're just lucky that we can do it. But it's yeah, it costs more money. But
Hmm.
that's the way it is.
Do you know, or do you have idea of what is the cost of a tour bus if you compare it to 2019 to now to 2022?
I
So
know it's a huge.
people can have an idea about how has increased that cost.
That's a question for my tour manager or management. I don't really think about that. All I know is you know it costs more money, and it's what we get in the end is less, than before. But we love what we do, so it's not a question that we're not supposed to tour. It is what it is. And I mean, we are fortunate that people can come to our show, so we can still continue to do it.
Yeah.
If you're I know there are bands that struggle. It's the way it is. I guess it sucks, but yeah, what can we do?
And for example, venues still take big percentage of out of the merch sales, for example, and
What,
which are essential to bands nowadays. The merch sales
yeah,
are very important nowadays for the bands, and the venues are still taking a big part of that money. What's your position about this?
I mean, I think in the beginning it was a way for clubs to say, okay, if we have shows, not enough people are coming. We have to take some money out of the merch because people are not drinking enough, so we're not getting money from the bar. But we know that is not true because people are still drinking a lot when they come to the show, and so it's just a thing that's just stuck there. And for bands that are relying on the merch sales, it's really, really tough. But I don't know. I mean, I think it sucks, but it's there's nothing I can do. I tried many years ago to start a debate and talk about this, but not enough bands are saying we agree, or were acknowledging the fact that it was a huge problem, and then it's kind of disappeared. There has to be, everyone has to react, or it can't be just a few bands that say something, because there's nothing. I don't know what to do against it. And I know, I mean, it's a huge cost. I mean, we sell a fair amount of merch, and the money that goes to someone else, even though we sell it ourselves sometimes, um, it's crazy. It's insane. But it's way tougher for smaller bands that live from solely the merch. Like they have to get the merch money to pay gas to get to the next venue, or to pay so they can maybe sleep in a motel or get some food or whatever, and then someone comes and just take 20% out of their pocket for nothing. It's horrendous.
So I just say at the beginning, when you try to start that kind of debate with most bands, do you think that if many bands, I don't know if you mean big bands or many bands, try to talk in a public way about this, could be fixed for the bands?
I don't know. I don't know about fixed, but it's something that we have to be united. I guess we have to. Everyone has to react. It can't be just a few bands or someone in a band say something and complain, because nothing's going to happen. Because the whole cooperation, or whatever you want to call them, that take this concession money, it's such a huge it's like David versus Goliath, you know, like, but it has to be, bands have to turn into the Goliath instead, right? You know,
yeah.
it's because I remember this. I think this is with like 2000. I can remember 2005, 6, 7 or something, and that's the first time I really recognized it over here in Sweden. Like we had it, and I got really upset, you know. And I said, let's sell our merch outside. We're not going to sell it inside when someone is going to take that much money. But obviously the fans, they suffer, because you want to go to a show and you want to buy your T-shirt, and then you piss someone off, you know. Like it feels, sometimes it feels like it doesn't matter what you do, because there's always someone who doesn't understand why you're doing the way you do it. And yeah, it's a huge problem. It's difficult, but I don't personally don't know what to do unless we can all unite and say this is what it is. But that's, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's because today we have that way of do the things. Like you go to the venue and inside there's a merch side where you can buy the things. But maybe if all the bands are, for example, selling the merch in the bus, in front of the bus, maybe if it's in all the concerts, it can be generalized and people can know, okay, I can buy the official merch here in that area for all the songs. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also I mean, it sounds very easy, but you know, when we play here, say we play in front of like 9-10,000 people, you know, and we can't sell the merch in front of the bus. I mean, it's impossible. You know? You have to have the setup and all that stuff. I mean, I get it if you're playing in a small club. Yeah, that could be a different service, but it's just it seems like it's the way it is, and unless we unite and we agree on something and we can change it, because I mean, I could pay something for a service. I get that if you get something for it, if someone sells for you and do all the counting and count out and all that stuff, that's one thing. But like 20%, it's quite a lot of money, and it's not a service that they offer. It's a service that you have to agree upon. Otherwise, you cannot sell, and that's almost like mob territory, you know, like which is, yeah, it's fucked up.
And you have to bring your own people to do that count of the money and to put all the merch in this side or whatever.
Not always. Sometimes, I mean, you obviously have to have you still have to pay. You have to have one person that goes to them, so to speak, and count in and count out. But it's not, when you play huge venues, they usually take care of the setting up things and do this or that. But you always have to have your merch person to control it, you know. So it's still a cost. It's still a bunk in the bus. It's still food. It's still a salary. It's still, you know, that you pay on top of the 20%, whatever. So it's not like the bands are winning, you know. we are at the end of the chain, but that's how it's always been, you know. Like it's you know, look at royalties, look at all this and that, and you know, but it feels like if you're part of the game, that's just the way it is, you know.
Yeah, I guess. And a part of that business side of the music, I'd like to know where are you now? Because I can see many different music
Yeah,
stuff in your
I mean,
back.
I'm in my home studio in my house.
Okay, so there is where you create the music of In Flames or whatever.
No, not really. I do all my electronic stuff. My If Anything Suspicious, which is my ambient project that I do, like more
Okay.
soundtrack type of music. So I write a lot of music here, but not for In Flames necessary.
Okay. And well, talking about In Flames, of course, In Flames took a lot of hero for being adventurous with their sound in back in time, and now you did in now what you did in 2002 with records such as Reroute to Remain has become most of what metal stands for these days in genres such as metalcore or etc. Do you find it funny in a way?
That's how it's always been. Like people react. Like I remember releasing that album, and there was a huge debate about In Flames being good or bad, or this or that, or it was too big of a step or whatever. And then you give it 10 years, 20 years, and it becomes a classic. I mean, that's very natural, you know. That's how people react. It's the same thing now. It's the same with every album. Every album we release is not as, to some people, not say everyone, because it seems like just because you have an opinion online and you say everybody thinks this. No, not everybody is thinking that. That might be you and a few more for sure. But so I think every album has been uh, um, a chance. Like there's been a discussion, you know, like, but it's fine. That's okay. We're dealing with taste, emotions, and feelings, and those are not facts. Those are just opinions by someone, and that we all have different ones. That's okay. It's something I can't control either, you know. And I don't want to control that. I don't want to. I can't. You know, this is my music, and as soon as it's released, it's not my music anymore. It belongs to the world, and I can't control what you or your friends or your neighbors or people in different countries what they like or don't like.
So do you feel comfortable with this eternal debate every single In Flames album about your music?
Yeah, I find it funny, you know, because people think it's their opinion is super valid and it's the right one, you know, and that's fine. It's okay, you know. I also have opinions about other bands. You know, I just don't go online and talk about it.
Yeah.
And I have, like, you know, bands with a long career. I don't agree upon everything that they've done, but I wouldn't say, "Oh, you guys suck and fucking hate you because the music that you make." That's not how it works for me, you know. But as I said again, it's fine, you know, and then it's okay. What I don't like is when people attack other people's taste. You know, like I I think Jester Race is the best album In Flames made. Oh no, you think Horacle is the best album, and therefore you suck, and you're not right, and I'm right. And it's like that is something I don't like at all. Because I mean, who are you to decide? You know.
Yeah.
And then I'm not talking about you and me. I'm talking about people in general.
Yeah. And you'll be turning 50 this year, if I'm not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And has life been what you expected so far?
No.
How was
I,
it for you
I
when you were young?
no. I mean, like life took several different turns, you know, and I wasn't meant to be a musician, you know. Like I want to become an architect when I was younger, when I went to school, and then music happened, and we got some momentum, and then I decided, like, okay, let's see what this path will where this path will take me, and I'm still on the same path, you know, going somewhere. So no, I don't know. It's it's funny, but I like to live more in the moment and just see whatever happens, and then try to adapt to and enjoy the ride. I'm not looking back and say, "Oh, I wish I was 20 again." I'm not. I'm in no rush to turn 70. You know, I like where I am right now. I feel
And
pretty great.
even more after a pandemic like the one we
Yeah,
had.
yeah, for sure, for sure. If something, if the pandemic taught us something, it was just not take things for granted. You know, just be here, enjoy the moment, because you never know when it will end. You know, so.
And well, sometimes the internet is, I don't know if I can say funny or whatever. And apparently, your net worth is like $49 million. Usually, we find a lot of garbage info on the internet, as I said. I guess if you had $49 million, maybe you would not be touring at this point.
I would still.
Or could you still touring with that amount of money in your bank?
Yeah, I don't do this because of the money. I do this because I love it. I mean, people have to realize. Like last year, I, I was in America. I was 6 months alone. I played 120 or 30 shows or whatever last year. I did a UK tour, a European festival circuit, and European tour. I'm away a lot from my family, my friends, and you know, you're out in the world. You're living on a bus in a hotel room, and you're playing shows, and you know, like it's. I do this because I love it. You know, it's my passion. So if I have $49 million in my pocket, or if I have $100 in my pocket, it's like, you know, this is a passion of mine. People have to understand, like, we do this because we love it. I don't think going into heavy metal because you want to make millions is not the smartest choice. It's not. It's about what you feel inside and what you want to do. There's If you want to make money in music, you maybe other genres might be better for you. But that being said, all the competition and for you to be recognized, it's not easy. There's like so many talented musicians, and only few are lucky enough to be able to live from it. You know.
Yeah.
But I don't have 49 million in my pocket. But I think people see it in a wrong way. I think it's measured in not the money that the artists actually have. It's more what they're worth in case of, you know, promotion or like start working with a bigger company for some reason, for endorsements and stuff like that. So it's a different value, but it's funny.
Yeah. And I have to say, I discovered one great band thanks to In Flames in the beginning of the century, which was the Swedish group Treat. You know,
Yeah.
when you did the cover of World Promises. What are your favorite Swedish bands?
Europe, my Entomb, Dismember, Merciless, like a lot of early death thrash stuff. Mesro is another one, classic, like thrash, kind of like the Bay Area style of thrash music. We had a classic band that I don't think they ever got that far, but they were called Pagan Doom in Gothenburg. And when we started out, or like when we made our first steps, when I was back in Dark Tranquility, so this is early 90s. They were like the big boys on the Gothenburg scene. Like they played a club in front of 100 people, and we were all right, like, whoa, this is the greatest band in, and they are so huge, amazing, and they were super talented too. So that's another favorite band of mine. And I mean, Bathory have done amazing stuff. So there are tons of cool acts.
Yeah, and a part of that, we have a section in our magazine where we talk with musicians about their 5 favorite albums of all time. I would like to know which are your 5 favorite albums.
Um,
And why?
Operation Mindcrime, Queensryche, would be one. I think it's the greatest concept album of all time. I think it's I mean, Queensryche made some amazing albums back then, like Back to Back, Rage for Order, Operation Mindcrime, and Empire. You know, those albums are amazing. But to me, Operation Mindcrime is still my favorite by far. You know, one of those albums I would take to Desert Island if I, you know, only could pick a few. Alice in Chains, Dirt is a Bible. I fucking love it from beginning to end, and everything, like the musicianship, the vocals and the lyrics and everything. It's just, it's like probably my favorite album of all time. 9 Inch Nails, Downward Spiral. Trent Reznor is a genius. I wish I could be in his studio and just be a fly on the wall, see how he comes up with the things he does, the production techniques, writing songs, and I, you know, want to be part of his brain a little bit, see what goes on inside. It's probably very interesting. So I love that album too, and it's yeah. And what else? A very important death thrash album was Malevolent Creation, 10 Commandments, when that came out. I remember, you know, like, I thought it was, because I got into like band like Death and other bands prior to that, but Malevolent had some certain vibe to them that I was just, and that album is still to me something I pick up and listen when I want to have that feeling and listen to some old school death music or death thrash, whatever you want to call it. That is one album that is a go-to for me for sure. What else? I don't fucking know. There's so many I mean, there's so many albums. It's different. As soon as I pick something, I leave something else out. But let's say Blackout with Scorpions. That's Scorpions was my first love, my first musical love, I should say. I was around 10 years old, and I saw them on Swedish television, and they were my the beginning of my heavy metal journey. And from Scorpions, this went on to the Priest, Iron Maiden, and, you know, thrash music and death music and grindcore. And so it's because of them, like, you know, they are the reason I love heavy metal.
And I think, have you said 4 or 5?
Probably said 5.
Okay. I was not sure.
Queensryche.
Yeah, 5, because I forgot 9 Inch Nails. Yeah. And can you remember the first concert you went in your life as a fan?
Yeah, well, probably there was a lot of shows back. I mean, more like when I went to shows early with parents and stuff like that, but that has nothing to do with heavy metal. But I think like there were small shows in you know, bars and some festivals. When I can't remember. Maybe I don't really remember. I mean, remember like stuff like Metallica and Queensryche playing, you know, and that was Operation Mindcrime. And I think there was a Justice for All tour. They played like 4,000, 5,000 smaller hockey arena in Gothenburg. And then obviously we had like underground bands or up and coming bands playing club shows in Gothenburg. Like a lot of death came from the States and from UK and from Europe. You know, seeing Creator playing Gothenburg and Nuclear Assault and those bands too, amazing bands. So I can't remember exactly the show.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Maybe it was Metallica and Queensryche.
It was an early one for sure.
Okay, and can you remember some anecdote from that show?
No.
But that's where because you were drunk or why?
No, no, no. You mentioned I was turning 50 soon. I don't have that. I don't have that memory left. I
Okay,
just
okay.
remember being the. You're at awe. You see everything, and you be like, "Whoa, this is huge. This is like everything was so big and impressive, and seeing the statue fall and all that stuff. Like, oh, Lady Justice, or what do you want to call her? Like all that. It was amazing, and hearing those songs. Like seeing one when they start like they do the guns thing and the explosions and
Yeah, yeah,
double bass and all that, and you just like, whoa, this is the best thing ever, wow, so
yeah.
I can't remember any specific, and it's not because I was drunk, it's just because it was such a long time ago, and you got so many impressions.
Yeah. I like your choice. Actually, because I have here the Unjustice for All tattoo, so I'm a huge Metallica fan in this case.
I didn't know.
And the last question, uh, if you could choose for the next tour, I don't know if Europe, in the US, or whatever, I don't mind. If you could choose a band to tour with, which one will be?
Anyone or what?
In Flames Plus,
As an opening or as a support act?
you can choose.
Or as like
Or you can choose, for example, Metallica as a supporting band, but it's difficult, I think.
I don't really, I don't think that would happen. But I would love to tour with Metallica. I mean, they've been part of my whole life. Like it feels like all my musical, like, you know, I would love to tour with Scorpions too, but I don't think that will happen because we're too different. Like,
Yeah.
their audience would be extremely confused. But I think Metallica would be awesome. But that is something too. When Metallica fans go to they there for Metallica. Like the opening act doesn't get that much attention in a way, but just the feeling of being part of the whole touring crew, and you get to see the band every night, and you can talk Swedish, Danish to Lars that once in a while. It's also fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we played a few shows with them already, like a few years ago, and it was awesome. And they treated us, with a lot of respect, and they were very, very cool. Stopped by our dressing room, and we had a chat and stuff like that. So they were very cool guys. So let's
So,
say Metallica for the fun of it.
okay. So, well, Lars or James or who is in charge of that, you know that in Flex would be grateful to tour with you.
Yeah, yeah, we love that.
So, well, Anders, thank you very much. It's been very good to see you again, and in a better hour than the last time at 8 a.m. in
Yeah,
Warner in Universal
yeah,
in Sweden.
yeah.
I hope you have a good day and a good weekend.
Same to you, man. See
So,
you.
bye
Thank you
bye.
very much. Bye bye.